Hey you guys, I'm Christian, that's Corey, and we are SuperKamiGuru9000, and this is the review of the very first Berserk movie of the new film trilogy, Egg of the High King, so stay tuned. This review is going to be cut up in 4 parts. The first one is animation, then we're going to look at the characters, and then we're going to compare the original Berserk to the new Berserk, and lastly we're going to see the impact that this movie trilogy has on the Berserk franchise. This review is going to have 4 parts, guys. The first one is animation, the second, characters, third, new versus old Berserk, and lastly, the impact that this movie trilogy is going to have on the Berserk franchise.
So let's go ahead and start with the animation. Now, first and foremost, this is a movie trilogy, unlike the original series, which is based on the manga series. And because of that, it has a much higher budget, they can go crazy with a lot of things. And one of the most noticeable things here, the first thing I obviously noticed, is that it is a great combination of traditional 2D animation as well as 3D animation. And they do this for a number of reasons. One, I think they use the 3D animation to great effect to give a sense of scale to things, because Berserk in the universe, it's known for having these really huge epic battles with all these knights and armies fighting each other, and it gives it a really great sense of scale, and this way they're able to animate so many different soldiers at once, just tearing the crap out of each other, and they do it to great effect here, and they're also great when they do these big panoramic shots where they swing around a character and everything, and it makes just everything seem larger. In particular, Guts, you know, he has that huge fucking sword. Because of the 3D, the movie actually makes it seem a lot bigger than it really is. And I like that. It kind of puts you right into the picture. And, of course, the 3D is great for all of the backgrounds and everything. And just when there's a scene going on that's calm and normal, when the leaves are flowing, you know, all the leaves look very, very nice. So just little things like that. So I do like the new animation style. It fits perfect with the movie format.
I think you're right. This is exactly why Berserk should be a movie, because the animation budget goes so high that they can just do these hour-long epic adventures where you have like 10-minute cutscenes of all this like action happening, and there's just no stopping it. And also, Berserk doesn't seem to pull away from these like violent scenes. There's no like, oh, someone's getting cut, and then it, like, you know, you see blood hit the wall and that's it. No, Berserk shows you everything, and especially with the 3D, like Corey's saying, that can pan around the characters, and it gives you a depth to this animation that you wouldn't get if it was just 2D. So again, if you're looking at this Berserk movie on an animation standpoint, I think you really find it to be an outstanding movie. Okay, now that we're done looking at the animation, now let's look at some of the characters. And first up is Griffith, the charismatic yet sinister character that has the most complexity out of all of the Berserk people. And he really, in this movie, I really felt that he connected a lot better with what the manga was trying to translate than in the original Berserk. We'll get into the comparison a little later, though. But Griffith comes off, this new animation is, I think, was really what drives it home. His hair moves and the way he stares at you. He just has this powering, commanding sense every time he walks on screen, and yet he can go from like the nastiest looking dude to the happiest, like calmest, innocent looking person in like a second. You don't know how he does it. And I think that's really what makes Griffith an interesting character.
I agree. Griffith in this movie, he was done really, really well. You know, obviously the new animation style adds a lot to his character, and the fact that they are trying to make it look a little bit more like the actual manga series. They're trying to make it appear more like it, and Griffith certainly does resemble his manga counterpart. You know, he's such a conniving bastard, and he's incredibly entitled. He feels like the world belongs to him, you know, he just wants to be king. He wants to rule everything. But at the same time, you almost want to let him do that. You know, you want to join his group. And,
he's charismatic. Yeah, he takes you in.
You want to become one of his mercenaries and become a part of this bigger picture that he's trying to build. And, you know, that's what makes him such an intriguing character. And, you know, obviously, spoiler alert, you know, he is the main villain of the series. This is, you know, they're building up to him and everything. And there's a few scenes, you know, where they show him with the Crimson Behelit and everything. And in particular, I loved the scene between him and Zod.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that I love the way that was redone in this and everything, and how they're hinting that later on Griffith is going to become this just ridiculous threat to everyone. And, you know, it's just seeing it slowly happen like this is just pretty crazy. And it's just, he's such a manipulative bastard, too, because, you know, he's friends with Guts, it seems like at first. But later on, you know, towards the end of the film, it's kind of like, you know, not really. I'm basically just kind of using him for my own goals.
That's actually,
but the way he says it, the way he dresses it up and sugarcoats it, is it's like, dude, what an ass.
You really think you're better than everyone, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, again, that's what makes him such an intriguing character to watch.
Next, on our character analysis, we're looking at Guts, pretty much the main protagonist of the Berserk series. And in this movie, Guts is portrayed very well. He has all the attributes that you would think, which is actually a lack of them in a sense that he is the strong silent type. He just likes fighting. He just shows up and he's like, tell me where to go. That's all I need to know. And he just tears people up with his gigantic sword, and the animation style's, you know, pretty much right out of the manga, at least the panels that you're seeing versus this new animation. And the story is told very well for Guts. If anything, if my only complaint with this characterization is that the flashbacks seem very limited for his backstory, but at the same time, they only have an hour to tell this, you know, first arc in 3 movies, so each movie only gets an hour. So they're just like, okay, just kind of gloss over the flashbacks, get in there. But with some of the other flashbacks, I felt like they just like got through them quick enough to where you didn't need to know anymore. But with Guts' backstory, I felt it was lacking a little bit.
I agree. Guts is Guts in this movie. It's the Guts you've always known and loved. I like that you called him the strong and silent type. That's exactly what Guts is, and he displays that a lot in this movie. He's a swing the sword first, ask questions later kind of guy. And, you know, all the big action scenes in this movie really come from him. You know, just seeing him in action, you know, at the beginning he was fighting against this big armored guy, and, you know, just he cuts his fucking head right in half, and, you know, he thinks nothing of it. He just walks off after that and continues. That's just another day for Guts. And, you know, I wouldn't say he was developed that much in this. I mean, we know that he's a strong character, and we got a little bit of the flashback stuff with him, but like Christian was saying, it was shortened very much. So if you're not familiar with Berserk, like the manga series or the original anime, you might be kind of confused about some things, like who is this character he's thinking about? Why does he feel so bad about this character dying? Did he kill him? Did someone else kill him? You know, it's kind of left unanswered in the film version.
It's more artistic than actually helping you answer any questions.
But if there's one good thing here, it's that Guts is in full force. He's beating the hell out of shit, cutting stuff up with his sword. There's a lot of great action scenes with him. You know, he's the main character. You gotta love what he does. And, you know, I did like the way they did end the first film with his little moment with Griffith, and Casca was there too. And speaking of Casca,
she's the next up on this character development segment, and she was the lack of character development should be her title. She got almost none. She's just another commander for Griffith's army. She doesn't like that Guts is taken in and everyone likes him. She's jealous, I think, simply put. She's the tsundere character of the series. And she just didn't offer much besides, I'm an angry female and I don't like the new guy. But I think that they're saving her development for the next movie.
I completely agree. Casca was looked over a lot in this movie, and that sucks because really she's a part of the 3 main characters of the series. And, you know, in the original manga and anime series, she's a crucial character. And, you know, I know she's going to play a bigger role in the next movie, but I just feel like there could have been more to her here. You know, she's just basically a bitch the entire movie. She just hates Guts, and the main reason for that is just because, like, oh, I used to be Griffith's favorite, but that's really all you see from her character in this movie, whereas in the original series, you do see more real human moments from the character. And, you know, the only one I guess I could think of in this movie is when Guts was injured by the group and he was recovering, and she literally slept on top of him naked just to, you know, keep him comfortable and warm. And they kind of did something with that scene, but they could have gone further with it, but they didn't. The rest of the movie is just her bitching about the fact that Griffith likes Guts better.
Then she just got up and punched Guts and left the room.
Yeah, you know, so it's, you know, she's a pretty stereotypical type of anime character. Like Christian said, they're known as tsundere or tsundere. I'm not really sure how to fully pronounce it. But it's a pretty common character in anime, and, you know, her character in the original anime series kind of pulled it off pretty well, but in this one, it feels like they just sort of, you know, glanced over it really quickly.
They used her as a plot device and really not too much else.
Yeah.
So for this segment, we want to call it New versus Old. This is when we compare the original Berserk anime to its new movie counterparts. And we
totally just ripped off Nostalgia Critic.
Did we? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay, though.
All rights to him.
Just pretend.
Just pretend. We made this up.
You're cool, Nostalgia Critic. Keep doing what you do.
Keep wearing those glasses. Getting to New versus Old, I would like to say, starting off this segment, that I felt that the original Berserk anime has a lot more characterization. So if you're looking for more of a flushed-out cast of people, you might want to go with that one if I was going to recommend one. Actually, when it comes to New versus Old, we would both recommend that you watch the original series, too, probably before you watch this one.
But there's a lot of little stipulations, though. You know, keep going.
No, I see what you're saying. There are a lot of stipulations, but if you want a more developed Casca, like we were just talking about, if you want a little bit more of Guts' backstory, if you want a little more of Griffith motivation, then you go to the original anime or you go to the manga. But if you already are up to date with Berserk, you know everything that's happened, if you're current in the manga, then you just enjoy this movie. And it doesn't bother you that the flashbacks weren't as full as they could be. I can't believe we're complaining that the flashbacks weren't long enough. Can you believe that? I don't know.
We usually hate flashbacks.
I know,
this is a time when we feel like they're almost necessary.
But if you know about Berserk and you watch the new movies, you're going to enjoy them. I would recommend them highly to any Berserk fan. They're a good piece of movie literature to add to the Berserk franchise.
Agreed. If you're a Berserk fan, this is just something you kind of have to see. You're gonna like it. You're gonna enjoy it. I recommend it to anime fans because, of course, you're gonna love all the slick animation and all the cool battles and everything. To people who've never seen Berserk before, I'm not sure if this is the first thing I would show you. That's not to say that it's bad. It's a great film and it translates very well. But it does take certain liberties with some of the things that take place in the story. Like, there are some characters that are outright removed directly from the story.
Or not mentioned.
There is the Queen who was removed from the story entirely. There's that one bald, small guy who was screwed over by Griffith who wasn't even in there.
The Band of Hawk barely
The Band of Hawk, yeah.
No development,
barely any of their names were even said out loud, But they get a few small scenes. There's a few scenes that are taken out in general. A few battles that are, skimmed over. But there are key differences between the original anime series and the brand new movie series. First and certainly foremost, the original anime series I love. I think it's one of the most atmospheric series I've ever seen, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love the original anime so much. It's just, even when nothing is happening, the atmosphere is just so thick and rife with all the things that are going on. But in the brand new version, the music didn't really blow me away that much. There was the intro, which had like the opening aria, which was like a combination of a ton of different languages, which was great because I think it was actually done by the same guys who worked on the original Berserk anime.
And the intro was good for the new movie.
Yeah, that's something we haven't even talked about. The intro of the film actually shows a lot of the scenes that are going to be taking place later on in the series. You're actually going to see stuff like the Berserk armor and a lot of Guts' new teammates that he's going to meet up with in the future. And I think that's pretty interesting. I'm not quite sure why they're showing that stuff immediately, but hey, I'm getting off track here. But here's the other big thing here that's big here about the two different things. The original anime series, it was based on the manga, but it didn't take everything from the manga completely. There's a few characters that never had a chance to make an appearance, such as the Skull Knight, and that has a lot to do with the way the series ended. And because of that, this movie series is actually going to be following the manga much closer. So eventually you are going to see characters like the Skull Knight and Puck and all these other characters. So it is going to get to that point eventually. So honestly, though, I'd still say see the anime TVs first because it gives you just much better characterizations of the character. You get that atmospheric music, which honestly is probably one of my favorite things about that damn series. It almost makes it. It's that good.
Well, yeah, speaking about the music for just 2 seconds, like the music in the original Berserk anime is amazing. It's really
perfect.
It's really good. And you got to understand the original anime is not the fanciest animation you've ever seen. No. In some ways, it's just colorful manga images.
Yeah.
And it just sort of sits there, but this music behind it all just sort of brings it in. Mm-hmm. Just the music. And that's the one thing I think we really felt was lacking in the newest movie was the music just wasn't, it was there, but it wasn't.
I don't remember a single track except for the opening aria in the intro. Everything else is just kind of like, okay. But I can think of at least 10 different tracks from the very first Berserk anime that stick out in my mind. Specific scenes in particular. Mm-hmm. Gatsu, Earth, all that stuff. That's all just incredibly great music. But on the upside, the new movie, the animation, the fights...
better.
They are better.
Yeah, they are better.
There's no doubt about that. Like he said, in the old one, it would be like Guts starts to swing a sword, and then it's a still image.
Movement
with
lines.
Like red thrown in,
Movement lines.
So it's not bad. There are some actual fighting scenes, but in this one it's all fluid animation all the time. And the trailer for the next movie teased it even more when he fights against 100 soldiers. So it's only going to get better from here. I can't wait to see more of the weaponry he's going to use, in particular in the future when he gets that fucking Dragon Slayer.
That sword's going to be amazing.
So now that this brand new Berserk trilogy movie has just started, we want to see how it's going to impact the Berserk universe and the anime universe as well. And, I think that this Berserk movie is good because, one, it's bringing Berserk back into the public eye again because a lot of people read manga, but more people watch TV and get on the internet and see ads for movies and stuff, and this is going to get a lot of great exposure for it. And I think that's great. I hope it's not just some sort of really expensive publicity stunt just to sell more manga. I'd like to see them make more of these movies down the line. I don't want to just see the Golden Age arc, which this trilogy is the Golden Age. That's what they've stated. I don't know if they're going to start into the next one, which I think is the Conviction arc. I'd love to see more of what's going on in the future. The fact that they have that intro that shows all of the stuff that's going to happen later is sort of a nice little subtle hint that, yeah, we're thinking about doing that stuff. They even show Skull Knight in the preview and everything. So this is just great for Berserk fans. I'm a Berserk fan, so I'm super excited about this. It's just great to see new Berserk, really. But if anything, it's hopefully going to spawn a new movie series, or hopefully, even better, just a brand new anime series, so this way we can get more fleshed out stuff.
When it comes to what I think about this new movie affecting the franchise, I don't see it hurting Berserk as an overall thing at all. This is only going to bring Berserk to a modern age, and it's going to get a whole new generation of fans involved. So if you ask me, more movies the better. And they're doing it right. There's no overall fatal flaw in these movies. They're solid. They're coming from the source material, and they're delivering.
All right, guys, if you just can't get enough blood-soaked Berserk action, you can check out some of our old videos. We actually did do a review of the entire Berserk anime series. We'll put an annotation for you guys right up above. So we got to give a score to this movie because we are reviewing it. And you know what? I really, really enjoyed it. I'm excited for what's to come. And Christian seemed to really enjoy it. He's watched it more times than I have, actually. So you know what? We're going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Nearly perfect. It's not without its flaws, but it's definitely a movie that Berserk fans and anime fans in general need to see.
If you guys are as excited about the new Berserk franchise as we are, make sure to give us a big thumbs up on the video, you guys. Until next time, SuperKamiGuru9000, out.